Welcome to Moments with Marianne. I'm so delighted we're spending this time here today. We have a very inspiring show coming right up with special guest, Victoria Schade, and she's here today to share with us her new novel, Lost, Found, and Forever. Now, what would happen if you discovered your four-legged best friend actually might belong to somebody else? So we're going to dive into this story with Victoria. Now, many of you know Victoria. She's an author, speaker, and dog trainer known for her upbeat approach to living and working with dogs. She's been featured in the Washington Post, Martha Stewart Living, Real Simple, Reader's Digest, The Bark, and many dog-specific publications. So Victoria has worked on Animal Planet's annual Puppy Bowl special for the past 12 years. She's also served as a pet expert for PetSide, Pet 360, Pet MD, and Paw Culture. So let's welcome to the show, Victoria Schade.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to chat with you today.
What an honor it is to have you here and to talk about this book. I got to tell you, I absolutely adored this book. And it was such an easy read. It was a good read. There were some things in there that kind of tug at your heart. What inspired you to write this book?
You know, I think it's the idea that so many of us are adopting our dogs, and most of the time we don't know our dogs' backstories. And I think a lot of us assume that, you know, in rescuing, we are truly rescuing them from this awful circumstance. And in a lot of scenarios, yes, we are doing that. But I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if a rescue dog came from a scenario that wasn't that bad and was actually pretty strong and loving? And, you know, what a story that would be when you have two pet parents warring over the same dog.
Well, I think that is actually a really good thing, but it comes into this place where, I love how you just interweaved everything in this story. So why don't you share a little bit about that with us?
Sure. So Lost, Found, and Forever is about a love triangle. What would happen in a love triangle if one of the parts was a dog? So my main character, Justine, adopted a dog, and she's had him for a year. His name is Spencer, and it's a total love match. They adore each other. But she discovers through one of those Facebook posts that have been forwarded a million times. We've all seen them, right? You're not even sure where it originated. But she sees in this post a very familiar looking face and comes to discover that the dog in this post is Spencer. And she's left questioning, do I own this dog? Because the post is all about this, you know, very depressed guy who's trying to find his lost dog. And Justine realizes, you know, I adopted this dog who might rightly belong to someone else. So the whole story is the push-pull between these two very attractive characters, of course, they're trying to figure out who gets the dog, who's the better pet parent. And it sounds really heavy, but I swear to you, it's lighthearted, it's rom-com, and there's some dog training and behavior woven in as well, like all of my books.
Well, that is a good thing, because let me tell you, I was checking this out and I was going, oh my gosh. It really, and we were talking about this a little bit ago, it really tugged at my heart, because I think one of the things is that, like, dog owners get freaked out if their dogs go missing, you know, and it's a stress, but, you know, it's a good thing to talk about.
It really is. And that's, you know, my main character, Griffin, who lost Spencer, aka Leo. It was Leo when he owned him. He did everything right. You know, he was a great dog parent. He microchipped, but what a lot of pet parents don't realize is sometimes microchips can migrate. So they've been found in elbows or by ribs. And then add to that the fact that some smaller rescues don't have universal chip readers. So they might scan the dog and say, no chip in this dog, not realizing that, yeah, there's someone else desperately seeking that dog. And that's exactly what happened in Lost, Found, and Forever.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I would totally freak out if that happened to my dog. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really scary thought. And I didn't realize how many readers were, you know, as they're reading this, they're like, oh my God, they're getting nervous about the scenario. But again, happily ever afters for all.
Yes, without a doubt. And, you know, and I think there's so many elements here that make it such a page turner. Was that your intention when you wrote the book?
Always. I mean, I always want to keep my readers engaged and, giving them a reason to keep moving forward in the book. And that's some of the feedback that makes me the happiest is a few people have called this a fast read. And I'm like, well, what do you mean by a fast read? Do you mean it's easy? And they're like, no, I want to keep going. I don't want to put it down because I want to know what happens next. So that's really fulfilling to get that feedback.
I could imagine. And I know some people are kind of hinting that, we're hoping to see this in a film someday.
Oh, dream the impossible dream. Yes, I think that's every author's pipe dream, vision board, fingers crossed that it happens. All of my books, I feel like because of the dog elements, they really lend themselves either to the big screen or a Netflix adaptation, a series. Yeah, it would be incredible.
Well, I think you have a laundry list of people who would like to see that. So,
Ooh, I love to hear that.
Well, yeah, we'll all stand in line for that one.
Yeah.
But and it's great because it's a film that kind of a book that makes you kind of ready to make it a film for you. Yeah, I know, really. It's a book that really makes you think and feel good, and brings a little bit of thought into, hey, how can I better take care of my dog? And I think that that's so important because a lot of times people get pets and not really understand like the things that should do, like microchip and take care of their pets,
Yeah, it's a huge commitment and it goes beyond just like, oh, I want a best friend. Not only do you have to think about the time commitment, which is huge, there's a financial aspect. And I'm raising my hand high in the air because we have a dog that's been having some issues and, we're a couple grand deep already just in the diagnostic process. So there's that to think about. And then, giving your dog the most fulfilling and enriched life you can give. And that's one of my platforms. I'm a dog trainer. I've been a dog trainer for 20 years. I work on Animal Planet's Puppy Bowl every year. Training and giving your dog a full and enriching life is so important. So all of those elements should weigh in when considering bringing a dog into your life.
So Spencer, aka Leo, was this dog actually written when you have like any of your dogs in mind, or was that the inspiration for him?
I love that question. No, I encourage your listeners to check out my social media because I have two little dogs and Spencer's bigger than they are. Yeah, so his name is definitely inspired by someone I knew. Spencer was one of our foster dogs through Animal Care and Control team out of Philadelphia. I think it's been just over a year and a half, maybe. And he was with us for a few months and he had a big impact on me. He was just a magical, handsome creature. He's a pit bull. I'm a pit bull fan. And he has landed with the most incredible pet parents. And we're friends on Instagram and I see him all the time. So I just thought it would be nice to honor him by naming my main character Spencer after him. But they look nothing alike.
The two little, I just love the name Spencer. And I think for the cover, that just goes so perfect with that dog.
I'll describe him for people that haven't seen it. It's a scruffy looking guy. He's got kind of a patch, a grayish brown patch over one eye and ears that fold down with a couple little spots on them. And just the most expressive face you ever want to see.
Yeah, it's completely adorable. My goodness. I mean, with all the work that you're doing with the dogs that you have and dogs coming in, how was it for you to even write this? I mean, how did you dedicate time to do that?
Oh, writing is my passion and my joy. And I just feel so lucky to get out of bed and do it every day. So I find the time, I'm lucky in that my dogs they're getting older now, so they don't require quite as much attention. Although my dog Millie, the Brussels Griffon, still acts like a puppy. But yeah, it's my process is well, what I wish it is and what it actually is. What I wish it is I get out in the morning, knock it out, first thing. But it's definitely a slower walk throughout the day where I'm revisiting concepts and things that I've written. And then in addition to that, I also do training and behavior content for a variety of websites. So I fit that in as well. But they're full and really awesome days.
That must be so much fun. Do you still do dog training? I'm sure your plate's probably overfull for that.
It is. Yeah. I really don't have the time to add that into my daily calendar and I miss it. I mean, there's it's just such an incredible and powerful relationship that you form, not only with the dog, but with the people at the end of the leash. And, I've made some really wonderful friends throughout the years in my dog training career, but unfortunately, I've had to tap the brakes and focus solely on writing right now.
Yeah, because you can help so many people with kind of understanding how to best take care of their pets. And I just applaud you for doing that because your work is everywhere.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, and that's where the articles come in handy too, because even though I'm not working with people one on one, I feel like the message is getting out there. And with social media, there are so many incredible younger trainers coming up with such incredible ideas about how to interact with their dogs, where I'm like, damn, I'm learning something. So there are a lot of great resources out there.
Yeah, so much good stuff. Well, and I know in your book, Lost, Found, and Forever, and we're not going to go through all of it because it's a novel. We don't do spoiler alerts here. But, were there some like training aspects that really stood out that you kind of incorporated in the book?
Definitely, yeah. So one of the plot points is that Justine and Spencer get cast on a Netflix style series. A little bit of wishful thinking here, perhaps. But it's a show about prohibition and speakeasies, and Spencer's cast as kind of the lookout dog for this gangster, basically. And, the training that she does with Spencer kind of mirrors some of the stuff that I've done because I work on, like I said, on Puppy Bowl every year. I've worked with them for 15 years. I've worked on commercials for major dog food companies and veterinary associations. So all of that onset training informed what happens in the book. But I will caveat that Spencer is a very talented canine actor. And the dogs that I work with, 9 times out of 10, completely untrained. So it's a matter of capturing and coaching behaviors rather than like what Spencer does, like go over there, hit your mark, tilt your head, look cute, wave your paw. That's not the kind of stuff I do, but it was a little bit of wish fulfillment in Lost, Found, and Forever for Justine and Spencer.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to hear that. And, when you, with the book and the people that you've worked in the past, what are some of the common things that you see that people really need help with their pets?
Oh, there's like a top three. So, number one, pulling on leash. Number two, coming when called. And number three, I don't think people realize this as much, but once we start chatting about it, they're like, oh, yeah, jumping up on people. So when people come into the house, getting jumped on by the dogs. So that's like the holy trinity of dog training.
There's a whole lot there, let me tell you.
Yeah. The pulling on leash in itself is a volume. But the good news is it's a pretty straightforward fix. So that's one of my favorite things to work on because it does seem like magic, within just a couple of shifts of how you're holding the leash and delivering treats. All of a sudden you've got a dog that's like, I'm going to stick close to you. You pay me. This is great.
That's too funny. And it's true though, because you get these little buddies that stick next to us, and they're like, hey, okay, I feel comforted and safe. So now I'm going to be in your spot.
Well, and not just that, it's making it worth their while. We all want to be paid for a job well done, and so do our dogs. So I am very generous with treats. I think it's important to let your dog know with something that means something to them, food, that you appreciate the behavior they're offering. It's really powerful.
So what if you have a dog that is not food motivated? What do you do then?
Well, they're all food motivated. It's just finding the right thing. Your dog eats from a bowl every day, so there's got to be something that will work for them. It's if it seems like the dog isn't food motivated, typically it's something in the environment that's prohibiting them from eating. So maybe they're overexcited or stressed out. We don't always recognize stress in our dogs. Or you're using something boring, the dry, boring biscuit. Ugh. Upgrade to cheese, try a little bit of chicken, little bits of hot dogs. I just actually bought hot dogs today because I'm getting ready to go back to the shelter and start walking shelter dogs. And that's super powerful for them to get a hot dog, when they're, because they think about their lives, not to be a downer here, but they're in runs for the majority of their day. So when you get them outside, they're like, oh, I'm losing my mind. And a little bit of well-timed hot dog really helps them focus and makes them easier to walk, which is a big thing.
Well, and then they feel pretty happy, get a little treat like that, probably brightens up their day.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm the hot dog lady.
They love you.
I think they love anyone that has the key to the outside. And that's why volunteering, if I can do a commercial, volunteering at your local shelter, people are like, I don't know if I could do it. You can do it. The dogs need you. Go volunteer. It's really, really powerful and wonderful.
Well, and that's such a powerful message that you bring too, because, we've got so many animals that do need still adoption or fostering, and at least being able to get out there if you can't do either of those and volunteer. That's such a big deal.
And there are so many ways to volunteer. Even if you can't give a few hours to go walk dogs, you could, be a transport. That's huge. I don't think people realize that many rescue organizations need people to drive dogs from point A to point B. So your commitment could be as quick as 1 hour. Or at adoption events, sometimes they need people to just stand with them and hold a leash so people can meet dogs. So it's not just bringing dogs into your home. Of course, that's wonderful and super helpful. But there are tons of different ways you can help. And of course, giving money. They always need, all of our rescue partners out in the world need donations to keep going. So that's probably the easiest way, is just click a button, send some money.
Yeah. I mean, they've got to feed, take care of these dogs, so there's a lot that's incorporated in that because they all have different needs. It to kind of pivot back around to your book, Lost, Found, and Forever. Were you expecting to write kind of a romance novel, when you started out with this?
Definitely. Yeah. So my last novel, Who Rescued Who, was it's set in England, and it's definitely got some heavier themes and some family trauma and drama. Again, still very a lighthearted, happy book, but there are some slightly heavier themes woven through. And this one, I wanted to step back a little bit and just keep it straight rom-com, keep you smiling throughout it. I mean, there is, again, no spoilers, but there is a heavy plot line woven through about something that Justine experienced and confesses to Griffin later in the story. But I definitely was pedal to the metal on the rom-com for this book.
Well, I'm so glad you were, because this is absolutely fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. As we were talking about, it's such a scary time after your book comes out. You release your precious baby into the world, your puppy, and hope that everyone loves it. So thank you for saying that.
Well, I know a lot of people do not, I mean, they just love this book, but it also, I think, brings awareness to how we take care of our pets. And I have such a huge appreciation for how you brought this story together. Was there anything that when you were writing, that kind of surprised you, maybe the plots or the turns that the book took?
I love this question because it is part of the writer process that I think every writer has a different take. So there are two schools of writing, pantsers and plotters. And plotters are obviously people that plot out the whole book, and pantsers are people that fly by the seat of their pants and let the story unfold as they write it. I am a pantser, not a plotter. It's so much easier to be it's tougher at first, but it's easier in the long run to be a plotter. But I like my characters introducing themselves to me and the scenarios unfolding. And honestly, it feels like magic for me, because I'll write a character and say, I'm not sure why this person is here. And then a few chapters later, I'll go, that's why she's here. That makes so much sense. So it's almost like these people are living somewhere and they're whispering in my ear saying, tell this part. Don't forget about this. I love it.
Oh my gosh, that's so just intriguing how that works, because you often think, okay, when you see good, just great books like this, that perhaps, the characters kind of take on a life of their own, or, you kind of see that with great authors.
I mean, I guess that's the hope too, that they feel real to readers. And I will caveat what I just said. I definitely have an endpoint, beginning, middle, end that I am working through, but a lot of the other stuff and the characters reveal themselves as I go.
Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to leave with our listeners? I mean, I just love this book. I highly recommend it. I just can't say enough good things about it.
Oh, thank you so much. I guess, if readers want to look at their dog possibly in a new way, a new appreciation for their dog, and read fiction that's inspired by someone who spends her days knee deep in dogs, pick up Lost, Found, and Forever, because you're probably going to learn something in addition to hopefully having a laugh or two.
Oh my gosh, I did. I learned a lot. I was laughing. There were some parts where I was a little freaked out, but it was all good.
Yay, it's the full gamut of emotions. That's what I love.
It is. It is. It's a great book because I picked it up and read it cover to cover. It was fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and that's my final thought. If and when you read and you enjoy, if you could review, it is so helpful, not just for me, but for any author that you read and you love. Reviews are ways to help readers find the book. So yeah, I encourage your listeners to review any and all the books they love.
Well, we love that. Well, Victoria, where can our listeners connect with you and learn about your other work and be part of your community?
Oh, I love this question because I am way too active on social media. My dogs are the stars of my Instagram. It's at Victoria_Schade, Schade. Twitter is just at Victoria Schade. Facebook is at Victoria Schade Author. And my website, can you guess? VictoriaSchade.com.
Makes it really simple to find you. We love that.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Well, and you've got some great photos on Instagram. I've been following you. I suggest everyone do the same. Victoria, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
This was a pleasure. Such a fun interview. Thank you again.
Well, thank you, Victoria. It has been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your new novel, Lost, Found, and Forever. Now, Lost, Found, and Forever is a great summer read, so you want to pick it up. And it's also available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all indie retailers. And again, if you don't see it on the shelf, ask for them to order it. And please support our indie bookstores. Again, if you'd like to connect with Victoria Schade, you can at victoriaschade.com for more information. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. You're listening to Moments with Marianne. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Marianne airs every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.